half in the bag. Fuck movies.
Budweiser, you created a monster, and they call him freaking Stein. And the tavern down the street is the...
Jay, I can't do it anymore. I can't watch this fucking movie anymore. You know, if I had a gun and 2 bullets, I would use them both on me to make sure it didn't fail. I just can't watch fucking Rhinestone again. I just can't!
Hey Mike, I just thought of something.
What's that?
We came up here to fix Mr. Plinkett's VCR, right?
Yes, genius. What about it?
Well, clearly it's working because we've watched Rhinestone on it 12 times now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're right. It has power and everything. And it has a gigantic red bow on it.
Well, that's odd.
How did you not notice that when you put the tape in the first place? Or every subsequent time when you rewound it and hit play again? Hey, there's a note on this. To Plinkett from Santa.
From Santa? Oh my God, Plinkett must be really losing his mind up here.
Oh shit, he's here.
Oh, it's Plinkett. Oh. Hello, Mr. Plinkett.
Oh, hey guys. Oh, you're here.
Yep.
Good, that means you can get to work fixing my VCR.
Oh, we will, right after we drink these beers. Hey, you should be careful out there. It's very cold outside. You don't even have a proper winter coat on.
Oh, no, I was just at my new best friend's house, Chris Kringle. Yeah, he lives on the other side of the mountain. Yeah, big place. Lots of little people running around making toys. His wife's kind of a bitch, though. Actually, I just stopped by here for a minute.
That's not a justification for him not wearing a winter coat, though.
It's not.
It doesn't make any sense.
He's gonna get the frostbite.
Yeah, Chris asked me to bring him some milk and cookies. Kind of a weird request. Oh, well, get back to work.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna start working on this real soon here.
Oh, God, it's so fucking cold!
Jay, it sounds like he's talking about Santa Claus.
Sure does.
But I thought Santa lived at the North Pole.
Well, Santa doesn't live anywhere because he's not real.
He's not? Well, who's been giving me coal all these years?
Hey, speaking of Santa, have you seen Krampus?
It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the kids jingle belling.
Merry Christmas!
Everyone telling
Looks like Martha Stewart threw up in here.
This is delicious, honey.
This is a little dry.
Well, mine's delicious.
Mine's dry.
Do you want to trade?
Krampus is the story of Max, a young boy that looks just like the other Max from that classic film, How I Saved the President. In this film, Max accidentally unleashes the demonic spirit Krampus onto his dysfunctional family on Christmas Eve. Who is Krampus, you ask? Why, he's the star of endless direct-to-video garbage films. Mike, what did you think of Krampus?
Krampus? Why, I have a Krampus in my leggings. What's funny you mentioned Max, because we just had Max Landis on a show, and Max was the lead character in How I Saved the President's Dog. And he looked just like this character named Max in this film, who was confirmed for Jumanji.
Yes.
So there's 3 little boys with brown hair that all are named Max. And speaking of little boys, the director of this film was the protege of Bryan Singer, who directed such hit films as X-Men, X-Men 2.
What does this have to do with little boys?
I don't know. Anyway, about Krampus and Max and Jumanji. This is kind of like Jumanji, where things come to life, right?
I would say the Goosebumps movie that recently came out is more like Jumanji.
Well, whatever.
Actually, that's a good comparison, because Jumanji, I saw that Goosebumps trailer, and I was like, because I was thinking at first, like, there's not enough what I call gateway horror movies anymore. Like PG-13, they're dark, they're not like kid-friendly, they're a little dark, there's some violence, they're a little extreme, but younger audiences can see them. And then it can sort of maybe segue them into like other horror movies. There aren't movies like that anymore. So I saw that Goosebumps trailer, And I was like, oh, Goosebumps. You know, that was kind of after my time, but I was like, oh, if they make this like a horror anthology film, this might be a good gateway movie. But then it's just Jumanji and Jack Black acting silly. Krampus, though, is a great gateway movie.
Now, when you said gateway, I was thinking of The Gate. Like,
Well, that's a gateway horror film, too.
that's a perfect
That
example.
movie scarred me as a kid because of the little eyeball in his hand.
Eyeball in the hand and little creatures in the hole. I was scared of holes in the ground ever since then.
Yep.
Krampus is great. In fact, I loved it, and it might have been my favorite film this year.
Wow. That's pretty intense. I also loved it, but I can't go that far.
First of all, I want to say this film is Academy Award material in terms of set design and sound design.
Creature design.
The snow and the winter in this was amazing.
Yeah.
And the sound design was amazing. Particularly that, like everything in it, from the sound of the Krampus and the creaking, and it was really like the soundtrack was really rich.
There's a constant like ambient wind noise.
Yeah, and it's really pronounced and really, really well done. And everything else, like the creature designs, like you said, there is a bunch of toys that come to life. There's 3 stages of terror. Toys that come to life, elves, and then Krampus himself.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
How we were going to survive Christmas with 12 people stuck in a house with no heat and no electricity.
Or food.
There's plenty of leftovers, Howard.
Beer it is.
Well, let's start with the story. Confirmed for Jumanji, plays Max, the little 90s kid in movies, who is back in this film.
90s kid actor is back.
90s kid actor is back. Starry-eyed little child who is the center of the movie is back.
The whole movie I was trying to figure out who he was. I was like, why do I recognize him? And you had mentioned he looks just like Max confirmed from Jumanji. But I realized afterwards he was also Jon Favreau's kid in the movie Chef. He's a good kid actor. I like that movie Chef. And he's
Chef
really,
was a good movie.
The Michael Dougherty, the guy who directed this, he has an eye for kid actors because Trick or Treat has a lot of really good child performances too.
Yeah. But it starts off, it feels a lot like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, where, you know, you have the nicer family and they have a nice Christmas, and then the crazy in-laws come and they are all wacky white trash. And little Max is upset. His, I guess, cousins are making fun of him. So Max writes a letter to Santa wishing for his family to love each other again. And eventually he rips it up, he gives up, he loses his hope in the holiday spirit, throws the letter out the window, and that's what summons the Krampus, which is the evil version of Saint Nick. They call him Saint Nicholas's shadow. So he's essentially a demon, Santa Claus-esque demon. And
Based on German folklore, yeah. This is an old folk legend.
So it's a real
that for whatever reason in the U.S. in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so has kind of risen up. Like, I never even heard of Krampus until a few years ago, and now it seems like he's everywhere.
It reminded me of that episode of The Office when Dwight comes as a German Christmas legend that's similar to Santa Claus. So I guess there's a lot of German Christmas stories out there.
They got all sorts of fucked up lore.
It's the weirdest thing. There's no cars, no people.
How long can this keep up?
We heard something on the roof.
What the hell is this?
So David Koechner is in the film. Speaking of The Office.
Great cast, I thought. David Koechner, what's his name? Packard?
Todd Packard.
Todd Packard on The Office. Sort of a toned down version of his normal shtick. He's not quite as over the top.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I really loved about this movie, is that it's comedic, but I don't even think I'd even call it a horror comedy. There's comedic elements, but it's more like the humor comes from the situations and the characters and some of just the fact that the stuff is so weird and silly, but it's played straight. Like
Yes.
especially a lot of more modern horror comedies or movies like this, they would play up the campiness of it, and this doesn't really do that. So like David Koechner, he's sort of realistic in a lot of ways. He's a little more believable than the type of character he usually plays.
Yeah, it felt like a movie straight out of the 80s. Like we reviewed Turbo Kid.
Yeah.
That was a good film. It did feel like an 80s revival film, though. This feels like a film that was made in the 80s.
Right.
Like they found a script in a drawer and dusted it off, and it was from 1982.
Sure.
I don't know.
And if you're tired of wearing out your Betamax copies of Gremlins, now you got Krampus. It'll give you the same feelings.
Yeah, so I'm watching it, and I'm thinking this might be a perfect movie. There's barely anything in it that I didn't like.
Sure.
And to me, that's a perfect movie. Like Ghostbusters too. Ghostbusters, Gremlins, a lot, Die Hard.
Yeah.
A lot of the '80s Christmas kind of action horror movies came to mind, where it didn't feel tainted by a lot of the trappings of modern day movies, especially the fact that they're all practical puppets and characters and creatures.
Yeah, there's some CG, like there's little killer gingerbread man, those are CG, but lots of, killer puppets. The look of Krampus himself was great. It reminded me a lot of like Jim Henson stuff, like the Dark Crystal or Labyrinth or something like that. You never really see Krampus's face. I thought that was great. He's got like a human skin mask over his real face.
Right. You see his eyes underneath. And he's very kept in shadow, and
he's big and intimidating. It's never like, haha, silly Krampus movie. Like the horror elements are treated seriously, even when it's a killer teddy bear with big giant teeth.
Yeah. Or that clown.
Or the clown.
The clown and the Jack in the Box clown. They're demons disguised as Christmassy things, which is neat. Like, there's something about them, like the clown mask opens up, which you've seen in the trailer, and it reveals like all these like monster teeth underneath. And there's something really horrifying underneath that eats people.
Right.
But it's never shown. It's under this like Christmas facade, and I thought all that was like really clever.
Yeah, a lot of like hack critics like to use the expression instant classic, and I'm not going to use that to describe this, but I will say that from now on, this is going to be a lot of weirdos' favorite Christmas movie.
Saint Nicholas is not coming this year. Instead, a much darker, ancient spirit.
Those are hooves. Elk or a goat?
What kind of goat walks on its hind legs?
His name is Krampus.
Well, I was looking forward to it for a couple of reasons. One, I really liked Michael Dougherty's last movie, Trick or Treat. That's like the perfect Halloween movie. It just captures the spirit of Halloween better than any movie ever has. And it has a similar tone to this. Did you see Trick or Treat?
Is that the movie with Gene Simmons?
But I also really love Christmas horror movies, which there's a lot of shitty ones, but you take what you can get. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is like the funniest movie ever made. But the fact that this is like, it's amazing that this movie exists, that it's like a big budget, like studio released Christmas horror film that isn't campy or isn't like pandering, that's PG-13 but has children die, doesn't pander to kids even though it is a PG-13 movie. Like, movies like this don't get made anymore, and this should be celebrated.
No one gets ripped apart, or it's not gory. It's more like Willy Wonka scary, where
that's what I was thinking of.
People disappear, but no one actually gets killed.
Right. I mean, that's what I was thinking. It was like, I am desensitized to all this shit, so it's not scary to me, but to like a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, like the age, a younger age, like when I was a kid watching Gremlins for the first time. Like, I'm not scared of that movie now, but as a kid, that's some rough stuff.
This would be very scary for a 12-year-old.
Absolutely.
It would be one of those movies, and this movie's an anomaly. I think there's a stigma attached, and that's probably why it won't do good in the box office, because people go, Krampus. They don't get that it's a wink kind of thing, and we've had too many films like Jack Frost.
Sure.
Not the Michael Keaton film, but the one with the killer snowman, where I was kind of expecting a movie, half and half. I was kind of expecting a movie where the Krampus comes in and starts killing people. I knew they wouldn't do that, so I'm pleasantly surprised or happy that it was a clever movie.
Yeah.
And not just, Krampus is here, he's going to start killing everyone. And then we have to kill Krampus.
I saw some other Krampus movies that were like that.
Let's talk about those now.
Yeah, just this year alone, this is now my 4th Krampus movie. I made a self-imposed project of watching other Krampus movies released this year leading up to this one. And one of them was called Krampus the Reckoning, which you also, you watched some of, right?
I actually watched a different movie by Alejandro Inarritu called Krampus the Revenant.
Oh, I hear Krampus gets raped by a bear in that movie.
Yeah, yes. I think it's sort of a backstory.
Oh, okay.
He was going for something, Leonardo DiCaprio plays young Krampus.
Okay.
And then he goes on to become the legendary Krampus. But yeah, it's more of a prequel.
Well, I always wanted to know the backstory of Krampus.
The story behind the story. I also attempted what you did.
Can I guess how long into the movie you got before shutting it off? I'm gonna guess 9 minutes.
Oh, I don't know the exact number, but I would say about 10 or 8.
Because 9 minutes is exactly when the Krampus first shows up.
It looked like a film that was shot 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And that they masked for widescreen, cutting off the tops of people's heads.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's like they masked it to a different aspect ratio, but they didn't adjust the framing within that.
Yeah. And a little girl has a voodoo doll or something, and then she has horrible step-parents that want to have sex, so they lock her in her bedroom with a padlock. And then she says, I wish Krampus would come, I guess. Or
she has a little doll with handcuffs on it, and she takes the handcuffs off, and that unleashes Krampus, because that's how the legend goes.
Yeah, and then Krampus comes, and when he shows up, he's like a CGI monster from 1992.
You can't go this way!
This is shit.
It's just terrible, and nothing happens for the entire rest of the movie. Krampus doesn't show up until the very end again. The rest of it is just scene after scene of these bad actors talking. It's not worse though than Krampus, the Christmas Devil. And this one, it's another shot-on-video, horrible-looking movie released this year. It reminded me a lot of a Len Kabaczynski movie without any of the charms of those. And this one, Krampus is a guy in a robe with a Halloween mask.
You have been naughty.
And the mouth never moves except for one shot where you see it opening and closing, and you can see the guy's face in the inside of the mouth. I did watch one okay Krampus movie though, called A Christmas Horror Story, also released this year.
Okay.
And it's kind of like Trick or Treat, where it's an anthology of all these different little situations happening on the same night. This one, it's Christmas. 2 of the stories are kind of uninteresting, but the one with Krampus in it is okay. Krampus looks pretty good. It's like a big muscled guy who's painted white, and he has like a big goat head on him. But the other story, the one that was really entertaining, it took place in the North Pole, and it was Santa Claus, and he's about to get ready to go out to deliver all the toys to the kids, and his elves get infected with the zombie virus. So it's Santa Claus trapped on the North Pole, just murdering elves left and right. And then Krampus shows up at the very end of that, and it's Santa Claus versus Krampus. And that was pretty good.
Part of me hoped that Santa Claus would answer Max's wish and show up at the end and fight Krampus.
Yeah, that would be too silly for Krampus, for this movie.
It would have been.
It was fine for A Christmas Horror Story, but I love that Krampus did not go campy. At no point was it, you can say it's tongue-in-cheek, but it's not like within the movie where they're like constantly winking. It's played as seriously as it needs to be, and it's just great.
Krampus also had one of my favorite things in movies when there are characters that are gun nuts, and everyone makes fun of them for being gun nuts until shit hits the fan, and everyone needs those guns.
A la Tremors?
Tremors, exactly.
Yeah.
That popped in my brain because Tremors, of course, is a perfect movie as well.
Tremors is a perfect movie.
And there's one of the creatures is under the snow and moving around exactly like the Tremor does, and there is even Tremor vision as it goes around, and they're shooting the shotguns at it, and that stuff, that scene when Michael Gross and Reba McEntire annihilate the Tremor with their arsenal of weapons is awesome. And this kind of reminded me of that, where that tone is exactly perfect. It's that Gremlins, Tremor, Ghostbusters tone, where it's realistic, kind of scary stakes, but fun, likable characters and a plot that moves along and is clever and inventive and doesn't get stale.
I thought of The Mist a little bit too, like when they wander outside.
Yeah.
Like in The Mist, it's of course you can't see 5 feet in front of you because of mist. Here it's because of snow, but it still has that same like we're outside, but it's still claustrophobic kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I loved that. We're mentioning lots of movies that it reminds us of, but the nice thing is it's not like, it just feels like it's ripping off scenes from other movies.
Yeah, that's a good point. It feels like its own original, unique movie. And, but at the same time, harkens back and is reminiscent of a lot of movies that both of us love.
Night of the Living Dead a little bit, them like holed up in the house.
Yes.
I don't think this was intentional, but Demonic Toys, the classic 90s direct-to-video Charles Band film, because there's a jack-o'-lantern in that and a teddy bear.
A lot of those 80s and early 90s movies that a unique idea that's not something else rehashed, that's original, that hits its tone perfectly, but at the same time also has amazing sound, a well-cast movie, and really neat-looking practical monster props that are really great looking.
Yeah,
and I think
interesting
really
designs for them.
Interesting designs. That neighborhood. I think I saw kind of elements of green screen here and there, but the houses. I'm assuming it was in a full-scale block that they covered in this fake snow. I'm sure it was all computer enhanced, but the look of the outside during the snowstorm was just like pretty epic.
Yeah, it's like apocalyptic.
Yeah, it was really good.
Can we make a plea right now for if anyone's watching this that is in the power to do this? Because there's going to be, eventually there will be a Gremlins movie. Well, don't need one, but it'll happen. It'll either be a remake or it'll be one of those, the new trend of making a reboot disguised as a sequel.
Well, Zach Galligan is confirmed for
Zach Galligan?
Yeah, and he says that it will take place 30 years later, and that it will be a direct sequel. It will be a third one, technically.
So it'll be a reboot disguised as a sequel. That's what everybody does now.
Probably.
It'll just be called Gremlins. And they'll put Zach Galligan in it just so the fanboys don't get too pissy about it, but it'll basically just be a reboot.
He'll be a father with a young son, and he gives him the Mogwai, and then it'll be the exact same fucking story.
Exactly. But since it's going to happen, even if it shouldn't, can you please just hire Krampus director Michael Dougherty to make it, because everyone else is going to fuck it up.
It's Christmas. Nothing bad's going to happen on Christmas.
Well, I guess we should get back to work fixing the VCR.
Mike, the VCR isn't broken. We already went through all this.
Oh. Well, I guess we should get back to work breaking the VCR so that we can get back to work fixing the VCR.
Okay.
Hey, look. Well, Jay, it looks like we've secured another 6 to 12 months of paychecks. Cheers.
Oh, that Chris. Oh, he's such a wacky guy. I love that guy.
Oh, hi, Mr. Plinkett.
Oh, hey, guys. Yeah, I was just telling my new friend Chris Kringle about you.
You didn't tell him I've been naughty, did you?
Oh, no, I told him you guys really like movies.
It's true, we do. We've been talking about them for like 5 fucking years.
We talk about movies a lot. We talk about movies.
man.
And because Chris is such a super generous guy, he used his special satellite dish to steal a whole bunch of new Hollywood movies.
Jay, I think Santa Claus is pirating movies.
Mike, shh.
So to entice you guys to work faster, I had him put them on a bunch of VHS tapes. Let's see. We got Alvin and the Chipmunks, Road Chip.
How many of these have they made now?
Concussion. Ride Along 2.
Was there a Ride Along 1?
Yeah.
Who do they ride along with?
I don't know.
Zoolander 2. And The Nut Job 2.
Is this a porno?
Well, it's an early one because they made up to Nut Job 17. I've seen them all.
What?
I thought he said new movies. Wait, what? What did you say? What?
Let's just move on, shall we?
Well, I think that's everything.
What? No Hateful Eight, The Revenant, or Hail Caesar, the new Coen Brothers movie that looks like the most Coen Brothers movie that the Coen Brothers have ever Coened?
No. Oh wait, no, I think there's one last one in here. Something called Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Well, shit.